Hey guys, this is James.
And this is Denny from TeaDB bringing you guys episode 183. Holy smokes.
Yep, that is a lot of episodes.
Yep. Thanks for all the teas, people.
Yep, so this is a tea that I got when I was in Hong Kong.
Sweet.
About a year ago in
Sweet.
October. It is a 2001 Spring Buds cake, so it's traditionally stored. So that means it it's been nicely matured.
Mm-hmm. Yes, shout out to Tom McBride. Mature. First person I ever heard say that, and I thought, you gotta be kidding me. And then I fell in love with the man. What a great professor of English. So, wow, that is really, particulate-y.
Yep, so we are brewing the end of this little tin.
Okay.
I have about half a cake left.
Sure.
I've been drinking it over the past year.
Great.
And I'm curious to see what Denny says.
How dark the red that is, my
Yep,
goodness.
so this is that's partially the product of just getting a little bit more particulate than normal. So we will be, I guess, heating the cups with this.
Smells very strong.
Yep, and let's take a smelter delter, also from the Mata vocabulary.
Most definitely. It's got a lot of those ripe Pu'erh notes in it, with more of that age and age. So it's sort of coming into a ripeness as a result of the age on it. Now, one thing I noted too when James pulled this out was that the leaves themselves look as if they're very small, and they look like, and that's part of a function of the end of the tin, but also they look like young small buds.
Exactly.
And so
and
they reminded me.
Buds,
they reminded me of black tea, but when James, I didn't know they were spring buds until James has said so on the show. But that makes a lot of sense. So nice pour. Well played. Look at all that gunk you saved.
I know, right?
Pro. We drink this?
Yes, we are.
Alrighty.
Cheers.
Cheers. Okay, so different for the first thing that strikes me. And for a raw, this is kind of category bending. There's no petroleum sort of smokiness at all, gasoline-y, peatiness to this at all. Very earthy.
Yeah, the greenness is totally out of this tea, for sure.
Yeah, exactly. Very earthy. I got actually a hint of sort of spice. Not like super strong, but kind of just like a very small hint of like a red, like a green pepper or bell pepper kind of a vibe.
I could get that, yeah. Oh, you got a little bit of particulate.
That's fine. I'm trying to place the sweetness on this, and it's a little bit hard, frankly. Yeah, get those fingers in there.
I know.
There ain't no rules to tea. Come on now. Some people get very upset with things like that. My advice is get over it. That's about it. It's not a big deal. So here at TeaDB, we're fucking hard. And
yeah, we grew up on the mean side of the Gaiwan.
We did not. We're extremely privileged. But that being said,
we do like to drink tea.
Yeah, nothing wrong with a little bit of particulate. So, but how would you place the sweetness in this? It's sweet. I'm getting a really nice.
It's like kind
lingering,
of a really dark, rich fruit sweetness.
Yeah.
Maybe a little bit of leather.
Yeah, very leathery.
Is how I would describe it.
Yeah. Yeah, this is an interesting sort of niche of flavors that I'm not accustomed to with raw Pu'erh, so I'm enjoying that part of it.
And I think it's also an interesting comparison versus the ripe tea that we had in the previous episode, because I think the sort of raw characteristics will come out more, like more of a lasting mouthfeel and those kinds of things.
Alrighty. that spiciness is kind of, it's almost like a tomato vine. It's almost like a pencil shavings, but it has this just little ping of some sort of pepperiness to it. It's interesting. The body is thin, I'd say. I wouldn't put it very viscous, at least yet.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I think this is a little bit of an atypical session with this tea, just because we are working with even more fine particulate than normal. This tea leaves like a really nice sort of like lasting sweetness sort of at the back of my mouth, top of the throat, which I like, which was not present in the ripe that we previously brewed.
This tastes like a complex, hard to understand ripe to me, more so than a raw tea, which is, one, speaks to the age of it, but also, just like I said, it brings a whole new niche of flavors to the brew, which is enjoyable.
How are you finding the cleanliness of this tea? Is this tea dank? Is it clean, relatively?
I thought that the first steeping we had was a little bit funky, to be honest with you. I just tasted a little bit of some storage in it, but it's great otherwise, frankly. And I mean, you're gonna get with these teas that are at the end of the tin that are gonna be a little bit more particularity in general. If they're gonna gear towards being the least clean, and this has a great liqueur, even though at the bottom of the cup there's still plenty of sediment that we're just avoiding. We're just throwing that out at the very end. Yeah, and look at how much more red that's getting,
and I would agree with
you. Energy off of this too.
And if you notice, I only gave this tea 1 rinse. So if we had gone with sort of like that normal 2 rinse or whatever for these older teas, then it probably I agree that there was storage even in maybe the first and the second steep, and we're starting to get into some of the better steeps now.
Indeed. Cheers.
Cheers.
Yeah, minerals, a little bit of that pencil, graphite.
I get the pencil shavings more than ever this time because at the bottom of my cup it does look like there are actually pencil shavings there. And when would this tea be appropriate for you to drink, Denny?
I'm getting more sweetness out of it too now. Nicer body. It's really, like James just said, it's coming into its own. To answer your question, this would be it wouldn't be a first in the morning kind of a tea, because I think this takes a little bit more attention than that. But I'd say this is a standalone tea, something you drink with your friends. Gear it towards the end of a session as opposed to the very beginning, because even though it has those ripe characteristics in it, it still has that raw pu'erh smack.
It's stronger.
Yeah, it is absolutely just a more potent brew. It's leaving a little bit of tannin in my mouth now.
Yeah.
But a beautiful sort of deep body residual sweetness. Good energy. This is a really nice tea.
Have a smell of that.
Great.
See how it's cleared up a little bit.
Yeah, very small hints of like those like little currant kind of notes.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah.
And a little bit of leatheriness. The sweetness is really coming out, which is actually interesting, because normally sweetness, I think, dies off a little bit in the brew, but now it's kind of coming into its own. So.
And I find that with this tea, because it is small leaf, even when we're not brewing sort of like the very fine particulate, it tends to brew, so you got to keep those infusions really short because you're getting a lot of surface area, and then it'll start to give out pretty fast. So it can be a little bit tricky to brew because of that.
Now, did you get the actual cake?
I do have the actual cake.
So you then broke it up into small pieces?
Yeah, so usually my methodology for that is to break off, half an ounce to an ounce into here. And that will also just help to clear up some of that storage taste by storing it like that. And then I will drink from this, and then once it's down to the bottom, I will fill it back up.
Got it. Good to know. The tea is really coming to its own now. The first few steepings, I was like, okay, this is a great tea. It's sweeter. It's got a little hint of like bitter vanilla creaminess to it. But the sweetness, that sort of like classic earthy sweetness, is really kind of coming into it now. The spiciness is gone. Yeah, this is really nice. And so you found this in Hong Kong. What was the context? What was the story? Give us the deets.
Well, I went into a tea store in Hong Kong, and I tasted a bunch of teas there, and I came back actually a second time to that store, and then I tasted this tea there, and I liked it, and I kind of wish I bought more than one.
Yeah, this is a special little tea. And in terms of when you're brewing this, James, what's your typical session for this? How's it look?
It's different than a lot of my more traditionally stored cakes because they're a little bit heavier and a little bit more earthy.
Yeah.
So I find it occupies a nice little niche. I like the tea. Maybe immediately after lunch or something like that would be a good time for me to have this.
Cool.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
And Denny, where can somebody, I guess we'll drink this first.
To answer the question before it's even asked, because I'm psychic, go to TeaDB.org. Check us out on the interwebs. Subscribe to the YouTube channel below. Like the video if you like the video. We do a video together a week, plus more content, written content on the blog, newsletters there. Facebook and Instagram are always cool places to find us as well. Send us emails, tdborg@gmail.com if you want to exchange teas, send something to the show. Get in touch in any of those channels. We'd love to hear from you guys. Please do comment below as well. And we'll see you guys next time.
Cheers.